It's impossible to divorce politics from what's happening in
Yes.
2025 with social media.
Yes.
It's absolutely impossible. It is absolutely impossible to ignore the fact that all of our channels of communication are owned by billionaires that have say in policy and that have ties in politics. That's like, we cannot, those two things cannot not be mentioned, in my opinion, in the same sentence. And so we have to become the conscious consumers of where are we going to put our eyeballs, where are we putting our attention, and where are we putting the pressure? Because I think there is a responsibility there. If you get to enjoy something for free, then you are the product. You are the user. You are being marketed to, your data is being sold, you are being harvested, you are being manipulated for good, bad, and indifferent. Greetings and welcome back to the Kiss My Aesthetic podcast. We have another repeat guest. Welcome back, Whitney.
Hey, yay. Thank you for having me back. I'm so excited.
Oh, we're already amped about where we're going with this conversation because your last podcast episode is still one of the most downloaded and one of the most commented on, I'd say, to me in the DMs of like, oh my gosh, I love this episode. I loved Fabulous Fridays. I loved the mindset talk. I loved kind of living in that kind of boss energy thing. But for anyone who maybe hasn't heard the episode or doesn't know you yet, can you tell us who you are, what you do, and who you help?
Yeah, perfect. And I love hearing all of that. I love that it sparked this great conversation. So I'm Whitney Alexandra. I'm a performance coach. I work with women entrepreneurs mainly and some women executives as well. So my whole thing is work less, make more, and be fabulous along the way. So Fabulous Fridays are just one of the mandatory things that I make all of my clients do. And it's really just to allow them to operate in this future version of themselves, to allow them to experience more joy and just do more things for them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And also, it seems a lot of your ethos is you can't pour from an empty cup. So we've got to continue to invest in ourselves, continue to show up for ourselves, continue to be the best version of ourselves so we can actually affect change and actually help other people. Give us a rundown of kind of what you told us a little bit about the type of clients that you're working for, but what are a lot of their pain points or struggles or challenges, maybe even more recently that people are grappling with these days? Because I feel like our world is so different than the last time you were on the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine that. And it hasn't been that long,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot has changed. Geez. So a few things that I find, there are a few common things that I always find no matter the time. It's that belief that I'm really different, right? People having this belief that I'm really different, I'm weird, and everyone has that belief. So if you're thinking oh, I feel a little different, you are exactly like everybody else. And that is one that comes up over and over again. I tend to work with a lot of clients that are stuck at a particular income level in their business. So that is one that always comes up. The level always changes, but that's one that comes up. And now what I'm seeing more than ever is this trend of sort of these negative environmental factors, the constant media, the constant uncertainty, news being, living in this state of fear. And so we've been having a lot of conversations around courage and the difference between confidence and courage, right? How do you still, live as your authentic self when you're in an environment that doesn't feel really steady?
Mm-hmm. Okay, this is such a good topic for right now because I resonate with this message completely, right? And I think the script or the channel I get stuck in is going to social media, and even a few months ago now, LA fires are happening. I'm in San Diego.
Right.
I am seeing constantly absolute devastation and heartbreak. And the stories that got me, because business owner stories were the man who's owned the Mexican restaurant in Pacific Palisades for 40 years, and that he's sending money to his family in Oaxaca, and that this restaurant is financing them in Oaxaca. And he just went to Oaxaca and he bought the hat that says "With love from Oaxaca," and he took to give to his best customers like Ben and James, who are in his place buying a burrito every single day before they go surfing, and the community that he built there, and then talking about how he didn't realize that was going to be the last photo he was going to take in his restaurant. And I'm just oh, stick me with a knife through the heart. Are you kidding me? It's these kind of stories where it's and then I got to turn around and try to sell somebody on my branding services.
Yes.
It's just the contrast of that and
Yes.
the weight of it, of being exposed, which I'm so glad I was exposed to all of these stories, or Ukraine, or everything, the North Carolina, the floods, horrible things that are happening, right? I'm so grateful to social media for bringing visibility to the stories because I don't watch the news. I'm a millennial. Like just got social media. I'm gonna find out about it one way or the other. But the contrast of what feels like horrible things happening and are horrible things happening with then also promoting yourself during that time, it just gives me the yuckiest feeling. Is this kind of what your clients are talking about? And what are your first action steps from the jump?
You know what? That is exactly what they're talking about, right? Because I think so often, especially as women business owners,
Yes.
we tend to think about our business as this nice to have, right? Like, oh, branding services, when actually, like, that is not a frivolous purchase. That
Yeah.
is a strategic, that is a purchase of
Investment.
strategic importance. That is a very important investment, right? That is helping that business owner grow their business, reach new audiences, charge a premium price, whatever it is for them. And so that is actually like mission critical for them. And so I spend a lot of time with business owners almost in that hyping up and
Yeah.
helping them understand the importance of what they do, right? When you sell more, you can help your community more. You can help more families. When you're working with, some of these other organizations, or I have some clients that work in the nonprofit world, they're helping them make more money, right? That has a direct impact to communities that are impacted either with one of the events that you've talked about or just other groups of people that are in need, right?
Yeah.
And so money is power. We know this, but sometimes I think as business owners, we disconnect the service that we provide with the people that really are benefiting on the other side, right? It's so easy to see it as like, oh, I'm making 10,000 from this or 20,000 from that, and forgetting about the team members we employ, the contractors we employ, the communities that, we are giving, time and service to. So it really is like, what can we do to put you in that bigger vision, bigger mindset of how your products, programs, services, whatever, how they're helping other people? Even for me as coach, right? I think about I can turn around and work with people like you and say, okay, let's amplify your business. Let's multiply your revenue. Let's also make it fabulous, right? Because you're
Yeah.
not to
Of
be
course.
working so much. But that has a direct impact then to all of these other customers that you go and help. Right. And
Right.
so I think
Right.
so often we can get in this place where I call it the table of darkness, right?
Yes.
We are seated at the table of darkness and we have a choice to like sit there and continue this conversation, or we get up from the table and we fucking go and do something about it. Right. And so, I think the first part is like having that level of awareness, the impact that your products, services, whatever actually have in the world. Right. And the second piece is like having the courage to like go and fucking do something right now with it.
Those are easier said than done action items,
Yeah.
right? Because I think even if you do truly feel that way about what you offer, which I do, like I really do think like we're helping greenlight people's visions to make the next best businesses and to make the kind of workforce that we want to see in the world and like the next retail spots and the next products and the next offerings and the next community centers. Like we really are moving towards that mission. But I think in those times of feeling overwhelmed and feeling small, the feeling that I resonate with is when tragedy happens, I physically feel like, oh, so you're saying I could try to do something about this and it's not going to make a difference. Like I just feel so small about it. And then trying to get like right size your position in the world is the first thing that I struggle with grappling with. And then beyond that, it's like, okay, how can I hold both of these truths at the same time? Right? Isn't it like true wisdom is the idea to hold like opposing truths like in the same hand of like these are two things that are both true and I have to try to grapple with that. It's like I need to make an income and I want to have gratitude and enjoy my life, but I also can't negate that like this is happening right now. Like that's crazy. How would you approach somebody who's like feeling like, yeah, okay, that's nice that you said like do something about it, but like, well, what do you want me to do?
Fair enough. I'm sure there are lots of listeners thinking like, yeah, what leaning in a little bit further, right? And I think sometimes I encourage people to think about the bigger picture, but so
Yeah.
often it just comes down to one person, right? Like think about that one person that gave you a compliment when you walked down the street, right? Like you gave me a compliment at the start of the show. It's the most downloaded, commented on, podcast episode. It's amazing, right? Like it really just takes one person to shift. And so imagine if we just thought about changing for one person. I also think people have a bit of a visibility block when there are big events going on in the world. Like we feel like, oh, this feels a little dirty to be promoting my next spot
Yes.
when there's this big tragedy happening. And
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to sound really sad to say, but when is a big tragedy not happening?
Not happening.
Right.
Yes.
And,
Yep.
and so as much as we want to pause and reflect and help and do all of these things, it feels like there are constantly things that are getting
Right.
in the way of it being the right time to talk about it, you know?
Right.
So I think, I have kind of two parts of advice there. It's like, one, there's never going to be a good time. So just
Yep.
fucking do it now. Right. The
Yep.
second piece is, if it really doesn't feel good to you, there are so many, sort of invisible strategies to use, right? So when you think about your own business development, lots of it probably happens behind the scenes. There are connections, there are people that you're talking to, leads you're talking to for a couple of months. It's, you're in the DMs talking to somebody. You're still sharing your genius, and maybe the sales are happening in a way that still feels aligned to your values. And so I think those are a couple of things that I would offer, right, as a way of starting. But, I think we have so much anxiety about the events going on in the world right now. And the fastest way to remove some of that anxiety is to do something about it, to take some
Yes.
action. And so
Yes.
if it is an action in your business, great. If it's an action where you go to the gym and you are putting in some steps or lifting some heavy fucking weights, that's also great, right? Like, what can you do to move? And I'm a
Yes.
believer that if you can move your body, you will also move your mind.
Yeah. The people on the podcast are going to think I'm a broken record because I get stuck on some of these stories sometimes and I just have to keep saying them and explaining to them to people like yourself because there are these moments that like flip a switch for me. It's an interview and I really should learn the psychologist's name at this point because I've told this story over a dozen times. It's on the Today Show. I'll send you the clip afterwards and we'll link it in the show notes. We'll do that. She basically, her thesis is that anxiety and creativity are actually opposite ends of the same spectrum. So if her thesis is anxiety, what we perceive as anxiety is lack of control, when really anxiety is the absence of creativity. Because when you create, you have agency. And when you create, you have autonomy. And when you create, you start to quiet the part of your mind that has time to worry, to be anxious, to create this false story. Because anxiety is just predictive worry. Like it's just saying, well, what if this? What if that? What if this? What if this? What if this? Why can't this? Da 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 is anxiety, which is different than depression. But anxiety is just this hamster wheel that's like, so her
Yeah.
example is she tells the other newscasters, like, imagine you're feeling anxious. Now plan a dinner party. Who are you going to invite? What are you going to cook? Who are you going to sit next to whom? What are you going to have for drinks? Blah, blah, blah. And just the action of mentally creating something can be enough to quiet your anxiety. And I was like, I'm wondering if you've heard this before and if this makes sense to you.
I
Because
have
everyone I've talked to about it has been like, wow.
Yeah. You know what? It's so true. Like me just reflecting in these few
Yeah,
moments about it, that is so true. I think it is a beautiful way of thinking about anxiety. So thank you for sharing it with me too.
of course. Yeah.
The one thing that I have heard and really resonates with me is anxiety and excitement feel the same in right? And so often when we are like doing something exciting, it can feel those like nervous, like maybe there's a newness
Tingly.
to it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you feel those little butterflies. And we have learned to be sort of conditioned ourselves to play it safe and say, like, oh, maybe
Right.
this is a sign that this isn't good. It's not the right time. I shouldn't do this.
Right.
And
Right.
so I call it stepping over the barf line. Like, what can we do to just do the scary thing as fast as possible and remove that feeling? Right? It's
Yeah. Okay, so here's an armchair theory that maybe is on the darker side. Anxiety is a marketable pain point
mm, hmm
that we can name now that because we're coming from a culture of mental health, which I'm so grateful for in so many ways, that we're naming anxiety. And now
yeah,
we have so much language and verbiage, but I can't say I'm totally stoked to hear like a BetterHelp ad every 15 seconds of my favorite podcast
yeah.
because anxiety feels like a monetization opportunity and a pharmacology opportunity. So maybe this is my tin hat coming out. But I think to your point too, the social media of it all, the millennials being very performance driven, very participation trophy, very like eager to please. I think that's in the water. I also think there's kind of evolved this social media norm of like feeling like you want to say and do the right thing. Like always feeling like you have to say and do the right thing when it happens in the right time. And that if you don't acknowledge it, you're somehow a bad person because you've committed this social faux pas of not acknowledging the thing. Or to the flip side, it's completely performative. And you're like, as soon as something tragic is happening, you're like, oh, the tragedy, the people, the children, the dogs, the pets. And it's just like, okay. And it just doesn't feel authentic at all. And that
Correct.
gives me the ick. As you've heard me say time and time again on this podcast, what worked in 2024 for social media management is not the same as what's going to cut it in 2025. Platforms are shifting, algorithms are chaotic, and keeping up feels like playing whack-a-mole in the wild, wild west. That's exactly why we made our 2025 social media webinar. This is the deck that we actually sent to our clients. It's 65 slides long. And in the 45-minute webinar, I basically walk you through all the platforms, who owns them, their involvement with the current political administration, what are the pros and cons of each platform, what content performs best, as well as what our team would need for strategy, content creation, and posting and engagement to run the strategy on behalf of your brand. So whether you're a small business owner looking to work with us, or you're also a social media manager or creative just trying to get a better grip of the social media landscape, this is a resource you're going to want to take advantage of. You want to head to our website, mkwcreativeco.com/resources. So mkwcreative.co/resources. This is the 2025 social media webinar. And just for you, I included the one-pager reference guide that we've also sent to our clients to really give you the full menu of options in one big flash sheet. So take advantage of it or hit the link in the show notes to get access to our 2025 social media webinar, because it is wild out there and you shouldn't have to figure it out by yourself. Good luck. Enjoy. So talk to me about, like, if you are going to acknowledge, be the person that wants to not just continue business as usual, but acknowledge when these things are happening so that you can get back to business as usual. How can you do that with like a clear conscience?
I just think you have to show up for you. You have to do the authentic thing. You have to
Yeah.
do the thing that you would sit and at that dinner party that you've planned, right? You can have a conversation about it, even if it doesn't
Yeah.
align with other people's views or values, which also tells you
Right.
something about your guests.
Yep. Yep.
But we'll take it back a step. But when you're thinking about, you showing up, I want to show up in a way that feels good and aligned with me and my values and my vision. And if my point of view is different than someone else's, that's okay. We can have different views. But I think what I have really taken away from social media over the last 4 years, I think specifically that time period, we've seen such a shift in this expectation that, especially creators, right? It's a little different for me as a coach. I don't get this, but for creators especially, people will say, why aren't you posting about this? Why are you showing us Fashion Week and not talking about that? And so there really is an expectation from communities for them to do things when that's actually not the role of the creator, right? It's like,
Right.
show up
Right.
in a way that is authentic to you, your vision, your values, the things that you want to talk about online, right? Same with
And then
sharing your family.
alternatively, when there is something that impacts your industry, your topic area, like you do have particular insights. And this happened for me with the TikTok ban. Like I posted on my page immediately, or the automatic follows that were happening, which was not a quirk of being like, oh, well, you were just following VP or POTUS, because I was on the phone with my sister saying, I'm physically unfollowing these accounts. And an hour later, it's showing me following again. Like, what the hell?
Why?
And so I brought that to my Facebook group, and one of the comments in my face, which you're in my Facebook group, like one of the comments in the Facebook group is, why are you posting this here? And I was like, you gonna learn today. Like, let me tell you, first of all, because first of all, this group is about social media. It's about branding. And
Yes,
it's impossible to divorce politics from what's happening in
yes,
2025 with social
yes,
media. It's absolutely impossible. It is absolutely impossible to ignore the fact that all of our channels of communication are owned by billionaires that have say in policy and that have ties in politics. That's like, we cannot, those two things cannot not be mentioned, in my opinion, in the same sentence. And so we have to become the conscious consumers of where are we going to put our eyeballs, where are we putting our attention, and where are we putting the pressure? Because I think there is a responsibility there. If get to enjoy something for free, then you are the product. You are the user. You are being marketed to, your data is being sold, you are being harvested, you are being manipulated for good, bad, and indifferent. So I think that immediately, and she really did not like my response. So, and I was like, also, because I am not a authoritarian, no one is keeping you here. If you don't like what's
Correct.
being talked about in this group, you are so welcome to leave. You're so welcome to
Correct.
leave. You're so welcome to leave. And being so upfront with that, I would sooner have a smaller audience of people that are engaged and that actively want to be there than to like force them into seeing my content. That's just bizarre.
Correct. It's also
That's
not a
bizarre.
fucking airport, so you do not
Yes.
need to announce your departure.
Your departure.
No one cares, right? Like, I think you show up so beautifully online. Like, not only do you
Oy.
share your work, but you also are very authentic in the way that you present, your vision, your values, and you talk about the things that matter to you. So I think, you should do the master class on how to show
Oh
up
my
like.
god, hardly. Hardly. I don't know. But to me, I think whenever these big social justice issues happen and elections happen, and I'm always trying to empower our clients, like now's a great time to remind people of your values. You don't need to tell them who you voted for. If you want to, you can, but you don't need to get into the nitty-gritty. But you can say, at this company, we believe blank. And that whole post that's now pinned on my page and will stay pinned on my page. At MKWCC, we believe. And it's a carousel of like, science is real, love is love, people deserve dignity and respect, immigrants make our country great. Like there's just so many great things in this whole carousel. But I did run that by my whole team before it got posted because this is not just me on the soapbox. This is MKW Creative Code now represents a whole host of people. And
Right.
so I went to the team and I said, this is what I'm planning to post. Please, if there's anything in here that causes you pause, you guys are the ones I care about because I'm talking about all of us. And you guys are the ones, your opinions are of paramount importance to me because this is not just going to be me. Like, yes, it's my face. Yes, it's my business. Yes, it's my name on the door, theoretically. But like, I never want to be the boss that speaks for you. You know what I mean? And the immediate response from everyone was like, hit it, post it, go for it. Like we support it 100%. And so like that was such a great feeling, but I knew I couldn't move forward until I had that conversation. I'm wondering if you find similar dynamics with the clients that you work with of like, where is that balance between like, I'm the boss and it's what I'm going to say is going to go versus how collective is it really? Because it's hard to do that all the time.
I have seen a split, right?
Interesting. Okay.
There's definitely a split. When I think about some of the corporate clients,
Yeah.
a lot of it
Yeah.
is that the politics behind the scenes and trying to do their best to also represent employees. But at the end of the day, it's corporate, right? It's like we're showing up for shareholders. That's one thing. And so they might do their best to represent everybody. But, is it true to the culture? Maybe,
Yeah.
right? Kind of
Right.
depends. Whereas I find women entrepreneurs like you, right?
Yeah.
We are so much more thoughtful. Like that process you shared, that is beautiful. That is a masterclass in like how to align the team on culture and values and all of these other beautiful things, right? So I see a mix depending on kind of who is the ultimate decision maker, right?
Yeah.
And in a lot of these corporate organizations, it's shareholders or a board or a
Right.
CEO that is doing their best to represent company and maybe the employees.
Yeah. And I think I mean, I take so much inspiration from the companies and the brands that I think do it beautifully. Ben and Jerry's. Are you kidding me? Like their culture, the fabric of their culture is social justice. And to see the comments that they get, I think the same day they had posted some video that was like, just stick to ice cream. And they like pinned it as a comment. They're like, here's why we're not going to do that. And they basically just read this person a bill. I was like, here's all the reasons why. Like ice cream is a vehicle for conversation and community and it's a treat. That doesn't mean that we don't participate in things that are affecting
Correct.
everyone. And
Correct.
that's everyone's in the business of helping people, whether you're selling services, whether you're selling ice cream, whether you're doing B2B, like you're in the business of helping people. And so I'm always following those examples too, and like trying to, and that's just such a great reminder to follow the types of people and consume the media that inspires you to take action.
Correct.
And I love a mute button. I
Yes,
love a mute. I love an
absolutely.
unfollow. I love a clean house.
I agree. I also think
Right?
it's like if we left listeners with one thing or viewers, hi, if
Hey.
we left them with one thing, It's to like use that mute button, use that unfollow button, right? Like
Right.
really think about the people that you're following, the messages you're consuming. So when we
Right.
think about thousands and thousands of messages that are then making up, how you feel about your day, your world, your community, like let's start to become really fucking picky about the
Yeah.
messages that come through because
Yeah.
it's just like a constant stream of information. And, for as much as, I love hanging around on social media, you will find out very quickly what the algorithm thinks you're interested in. So I always tell people, like, do a hard purge on the algorithm. I recently got a new puppy. So my algorithm is full of poodle videos, toy
Yeah.
poodle videos. Right? Like,
Right.
nobody's upset in those videos. It's all great stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so I think we really need to be, we talk about boundaries, but like, let's talk about that the boundaries in the information we're consuming. That is such a big thing for mindset and how you go through your day.
Because we have to be the arbiters of our own attention span as well. And I think there's been a little bit of a lax attitude towards like, and a lot of responsibility put on the apps to create the boundaries. And that's like telling the grocery store that they're not allowed to sell candy. Like, we can't expect that. Like, if you want to eat healthy, then like you got to go pick up some vegetables. You know what I mean? Like, there's vegetables there too. Like, that doesn't mean that you only have to eat candy, but like, I think there's still some responsibility left on the consumer in a lot of places. I'm curious because I came out with an episode at the top of the year that was basically like marketing without social media 2025 because I
Love it.
noticed that a lot of people are getting so burnt out with social, and my forecast, my prediction is that the rolling back of fact checking, the billionaire, evil billionaire part of it, the AI, and I love AI, but like the rampant AI and the misinformation with AI and the
Yes.
lack of critical media literacy, I think that normal people are going to get, no, sorry, I'm not interested. Delete, delete. Like, I went to the gym and was like freaking out about the TikTok ban. And people were like, oh, this will be great. I'll get so much time back because they're
Gee.
not running their business on TikTok. That they don't see that as an income stream. That is purely entertainment and, if anything, a distraction from the things that they actually want to be doing because they didn't create boundaries around it. I've had a great boundary, they didn't have a group. So they're like, yeah, I'd be happy to see it go away, right? And I'm like, oh, you're missing such a bigger picture of like social connectivity and news and information sharing. Besides the point. But I'm curious what you have been thinking about, or even having conversations with your clients about. If social media went away tomorrow, what are those like good tenets of marketing and community and connection and services that we can come back to? Like, what's the core? And what would get you excited to be like, wow, I'd love to see this come back?
It's this. How about the face to
Yeah.
face?
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
about the, "Hey, Michelle, I was thinking of you," and it's not a bot that sends the fucking message, right? Like, I'm all for because I love high performance, right? So I'm all
Yeah.
for, like, find those little automated hacks, keyword this and keyword that, sure, whatever.
Sure.
But how about real connection, real community? Like, I think we just need to be so much more discerning about our time and our community and the people we spend our time with. Right? And
Absolutely.
again, back to those messages that we're constantly receiving, that's also in the like top 5 people you spend the most time with, right? So
Yeah.
you want that playing in your head, right?
Yeah.
And, as much as I value long relationships, there is something beautiful about new friendships and
Hmm.
new levels of growth and new communities. And so I think this willingness to like go out and network and not have it be a virtual thing, like a real
Yes.
handshake, right? A real hug.
My friends and I have been nicknaming it low stakes creativity. Like, we're really into crafting these days because it's low stakes creativity. It's just like coloring. It's like putting on a show,
Yes.
but instead of just all sitting there and like passively scrolling on our phones, like coloring. Like, you know what I mean? Doing like making bracelets or making or baking or doing things that are just like, I'm not tied to the outcome of the thing, but
Yes.
I'm doing something physical. And I think there's something, especially for women, I think there's really something strong about making something like tactile with your hands. Like, even if you're not, again, like a crafty person, but my friends that even like in their day jobs are, salespeople and analysts and blah, blah, blah. Like, I just brought for New Year's Eve, I brought like a bunch of blank matchbooks and a bunch of markers. And I was like, decorate them. And I'm telling
Uh,
you, it's as if everyone was 9 years old again because they're like,
yeah.
wow, I haven't touched a marker in years. I was like, oh my God. I was like, please. And so now I'm like the craft lady that's like bringing the craft stuff to the hangouts. But it's something that's like, it just gives you that physicality and that like uniqueness that I think we've so lost in our culture, that I love like a print. I love a handwritten thank you note. I love a like real tactile, like you're saying, like in person or even face to face, even if it's virtual, but like something with some texture to it.
Yes.
That's what I'm seeking out this year. Yeah.
You know, but I think what you described is so much more. Like,
Yeah.
the actual activity. It's like you brought this joy to your life. You brought this joy to your friends' lives. And
Right.
maybe that same joy maybe it would feel the same if you had a dance party every morning, or
Yeah.
if you were someone who like really spent time journaling, or you played a board
Yeah.
game. Lately, I've been super into puzzles. Like,
Love it.
thousand pieces, really complicated, good luck to you type of puzzles. Um, but it's like those are what's bringing us joy. And I think it comes
Yeah.
back to, what are the things that we're not like measuring our success on? We're not trying to I'm not trying to be a professional puzzler,
No.
right? Right? You're not trying
No.
to
Yeah.
be a crafter
Right.
full time, but
Right.
like, what are some of these things that we're doing as a hobby?
Yeah.
Like, I think entrepreneurs get lost in their business, making money, following leads, like, that we forget, like, "Oh, right, what are my hobbies?" It's
Or
not
just feeling
me.
like you have to monetize everything, feeling like
Yes,
everything like, "Oh, well, I have downtime, so I should probably rehab my entire Pinterest strategy, and I probably should make all these new digital resources, and, oh, I haven't sent an email newsletter in 3 years, like, I should probably
yes,
do that." And then it just becomes this long, long laundry list, but then you never give your brain a freaking break. And then
yeah,
on top of that, pile on chaos happening in the world, destruction, politics, like, actual really, truly bad, impactful things happening on top of that. Where
mm,
the heck are you going to get any kind of solace? Like, no wonder your sleep score is 0. Like, hello. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's crazy that we even have to like try to have a conversation to come back to basics, but I think it's what people need to hear. Is like
well,
permission to do it.
correct, and so here's a full circle moment. What about
Yeah.
a fabulous Friday,
Yes. Oh, please tell us Fabulous Fridays
right?
again from the top.
And, it's even more perfect because this is a Friday,
It
and I hope
is. Yeah.
people are listening on a Friday, or a Friday, a Friday's coming up. Happy
Uh-huh.
week.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And so what I love about a Fabulous Friday, and I'll remind everyone of like the
Yes,
origin
please.
of Fabulous Fridays. So I created Fabulous Fridays because I felt like everyone, including myself, was so focused on my current goals, where I am today, what I'm working on. I have these big goals, dreams, visions, whatever, and I'm in it. And so Fabulous Fridays were meant to be a day where you operate as your future self, where you think about self care, where you think about recharging. You think about, how would my $1 million self show up? What would she be doing on a Friday? Well, she wants to connect with people. She wants to have lunch with girlfriends. She wants to take that 10 a.m. Pilates class. Maybe she does want to work on a digital product because that means spending the summer in Italy, right? Like living our White Lotus dreams. And so it really is a day that I have asked people to be your future self and act like her, show up like her, be her. And what it also does, it sounds frivolous, but there's actually a science to it because it is about bringing more joy to your life. It's also about constraining the amount of days that you work, right? And
Yeah.
so when we can do that and say, all of a sudden, Michelle only works Monday to Thursday, you're thinking, oh, okay, well, if I want to make this much money or if I want to get these projects done, here's what needs to happen. And so
Yeah.
we get a lot more creative about how we're going to grow our business, how we spend our time. Usually the rate goes up, right? So, like, these are all really positive things that happen as a result of caring for yourself,
Yeah.
right? Like,
It's funny
and
how that happens. Yeah.
right. And so it often feels like a really frivolous thing where people are like, I can't afford to, not work on Friday. I'm like, no, you can't afford to continue doing what you're doing now. Working 24/7, working late nights, not giving yourself enough sleep, not having a hobby or joy. Like, you're going to hate your business. You're going to hate your life. And you're
And you're going to resent it. You're going to resent the thing that finances you to live in this world. And
correct.
I think that was a big shift for me, was like realizing like I am not my business is not me, but we are in a relationship. And sometimes my business pisses me the fuck off. And sometimes we're in perfect sync. Sometimes it's great. But then I'm like you're saying, like Fabulous Fridays, mine I feel are more like I like to bank all that time quarterly. So like I'm working hard now because I'm trying to go to Vienna next month for 6 days with my friends. And I'm trying not to open my computer the whole time I'm there.
Love it.
Like that's what I'm working towards. It's like, okay, so a Friday afternoon doesn't bother me so much. A Saturday morning doesn't bother me
Yes.
so much because I know when I'm there, I want to be there completely guilt-free, completely unplugged and completely guilt-free, knowing that my stuff is handled, my projects are in, clients are taken care of, everything's great, and I can actually really enjoy what it is that I've worked hard for and
Yeah.
not feel squished and strung out and taking phone calls and answering emails and dealing with time zones. No, 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 no. We've done that before. It doesn't work. So I think you're totally onto something. And it's crazy how much just prioritizing ourselves in our own business is something that we neglect. And as soon as you make that shift, man, does stuff start to change.
Exactly. And where I find that clients are really hesitant to begin with, they start to see the magic of a fabulous Friday. I'm like, please
Yeah.
just go, even just one time, even just half a day,
Yep.
even just lunch, right? Like, do something to
Yep.
just start. And, I always tell one particular story about a woman who gave me such pushback about needing to work all day on Friday, not sure where these next leads were coming from, blah, 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 right? And things had dried up in her business. Okay, so her task, please promise me, go on this fabulous Friday. This Friday, do it. That Friday, 7 new leads, closes this business. It's like like a 20 plus $1,000 day.
Amazing.
Like, we're,
Amazing. Yep. Yep.
you know,
Well, and it's coming back to that like abundance versus scarcity mindset, right? Like if you can show yourself that you can take care of yourself and you can show yourself that you can provide for yourself, that you're creating a magnetic energy that's telling people like, "Oh, I want some of what she's got. I'll have what she, like the when Harry met Sally, I'll have what she's having." Like that looks nice. Not someone who's like, "Please work with me, please, please. I need this really bad." Like nobody wants to work with someone like that.
nope, we do
Yeah.
not.
Right? Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, if you could give just one last action item for anyone that's listening, besides take your fabulous Friday, what's something that you wish you could just like shake people and make them understand?
Ooh, shake them and make them
Yes.
understand.
You're missing it. It's right in front of you and you're missing it. Anything
Like,
come to mind?
be you.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? Like, be the fucking black cat,
Yep.
right? It's like, I'm obsessed with black cat and golden retriever. Do you follow this? Yeah.
Yes, I'm a golden retriever energy, but yes.
I I'm like, I can turn into a golden retriever, but I try to
Uh-huh.
stay my black cat, right?
There you go.
And so it's like, how do I show up as the most powerful version? I call it limited
Right.
edition. How do you show up as a limited edition? There's
Yeah.
one.
Ooh, I like that.
Right? And so it's
Yeah.
really like, be you and forget about all of these fucking copycats. Like,
Yeah.
be you,
True.
fully stand in your power, be authentic, like whatever that means to you, mute all of the other accounts that make you feel bad, right? Or have you judging things, fucking mute them and like eyes on your own paper.
And remember your purpose and remember your why, your purpose, your mission. And for me, part of my mission is being plugged in and part of my mission is staying informed. And that's important to me because I know I have the bandwidth and the privilege to do so. I do. I do. I have the bandwidth, I have the support, I have the family, I have the privilege to be the person that takes time to educate themselves on these things. And I can absolutely acknowledge and appreciate there are people that simply do not have the bandwidth to go there. And I think that that's the beauty of it, right? It's like,
Yes.
but to your point, stay authentic, walk in your truth. If that's part of your mission, do it. If it's not, don't. Don't try to fit that square peg in a round hole. Ah, good stuff. This was a fabulous Friday. I did stop at the coffee shop this morning and have like their most delicious croissant sandwich this morning. I thought of you. I should have
Ooh,
tagged you, taken a picture. Because I was
ooh,
like, you know
love it.
what? Walked my dog. I was going to go to Petco to get dog food. Petco wasn't open yet. And I was like, we're going to go get that good croissant sandwich. It's delicious.
Yes.
Delicious.
Way to
Well, where
think.
can everyone find you, follow you, subscribe to this Fabulous Fridays idea? I know you love getting tagged in them. So if you're going to have a Fabulous Friday, make sure you're tagging Whitney. But
I
tell us
do.
what all your socials are.
You know what? I love hanging out on Instagram. It's pretty much the only place that I hang out these days.
Yeah.
So, Whitney.Alexandra on Instagram. Come say hi and definitely tag me in your fabulous Fridays. I'd love to see all of it.
Yay. Well, thanks everyone for listening. And if you liked today's episode, please send it to a friend, share it to your story, leave a comment. We always love to hear from you, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks so much, Whitney.
Thank you.
Bye.